I wanted to know
No more apologies.
how it's been, like how your wife, how you transitioned from having a job and like how that conversation goes. Basically telling somebody like you're gonna quit to, you know, pursue this full time when you're not even making money. As well as I want to talk about how your parents supported it, the shift.
Okay, so yeah, it's a great question. It's hard to keep it somewhat brief, but I'll try to nutshell
You don't have to keep it brief. You don't have to keep it brief.
So credit to my wife, first of all, because, you know, we were together and already pretty, you know, serious and married before anything ever really popped off. And when we met, I was still doing the band thing previous to even kind of leaving the band and starting to upload to YouTube again in 2016. We had already started dating, got pretty serious. One story I will always tell. When I finally made the decision, I was in my late 20s. I sat down with her. We were kind of like at the point where we were talking potential marriage. I realized, hey, I don't see a future with the band I'm in right now that makes sense. That's not financially viable. I want to start a family someday. So we sat down and we talked about it. I left the band amicably, and I'm like, I'm going to take this time that I was spending at practice and doing these things, and I'm going to reinvest those hours into learning how I can do something online, anything, what it is. I knew that there was a lot of attention there that was going online. Obviously, I had tried a few years ago with the music thing. It didn't really pan out before I stopped and started doing the live show stuff. And so at the time, I had probably $30 in my bank account, and she let me borrow her credit card and buy my first iMac that I made, you know, my first however many videos on YouTube. I bought the iMac with her credit card, and I'd stay up every night after she went to bed till like 2, 3 in the morning and just watch tutorials, learned how to use Logic Pro, learned how to use Final Cut, learned how to use fucking Adobe Photoshop.
And you were fucking good. By the way, if anyone doesn't know, Leon is fucking good at those programs.
I've had experience.
And this is me watching your stuff 4 years ago. I was like, wow, these are good. So now I can't even imagine how.
Right. And that's what it was. Because I probably spent 6 to 9 months literally just learning, watching tutorials and making sample things before even considering uploading anything to the internet. And that's kind of my favorite story, because she had kind of trusted me to be like, I'm like, hey, hon, I want to do this thing. I am passionate about this. Like, I need there to be something outside of the restaurant industry that I can work on, because I know I don't want to do this. I'm passionate about being creative and entertaining. So she let me do that. And, you know, I eventually paid her back. And then the next step of that was, okay, now YouTube, I have a few subscribers and it's making a little bit of money, right? Maybe I'm doing like $1,000 a month. I had a really good month, made $1,500 from YouTube ads, like, which that was like literally my first goal was like, if I could make $1,000 of online revenue, somehow online, like that's the holy grail. I have literally a plaque on top of the fridge right there. It's this little certificate where I wrote that goal down in 2015, and I gave myself a year to achieve it. I didn't achieve it, and then I crossed it out, gave myself another year, and I finally achieved it in 2017. And that the conversation shifted to now. I'm like, I really see potential here. And so I'm giving up shifts in the restaurant. I'm starting to work less in the restaurant because I see the potential. I want more time to invest in building the business online.
Was she working as well?
Yeah, she's been a nurse the whole time. So
they're always nurses, like, man. They're always nurses.
To tell you what, it's great. It's and obviously helpful that she has a steady job as well. But that conversation, you know, convincing people that what you're spending so much time on is going to be worth it, even though you don't see it right now, is the hardest part. When you know this as well, because you're streaming 12, 14, 15 hours a day
with $0
any statistics
for years.
$0, no stats, no analytics you can pull up and be like, this is why, right? That's the hardest part. That's the hardest part.
2.4 viewers.
Yeah, 2.4 average viewers.
What the fuck is a 0.4?
79 cents of ad revenue. Here we go.
He's a midget in the 0.4.
So
you didn't even get ad revenue as an affiliate, like before you're part
of it. Yeah, for sure on Twitch, for sure.
So yeah.
Jesus Christ. So it's kind of along that vein. It was just kind of months of like slowly growing. 1 month I'd have maybe a few more bucks, but never where it was anything that could be considered sustainable. So there was a lot of, I wouldn't call them arguments, but discussions about like, hey, like, why are you giving up this shift at the restaurant? You're going to make $300. And I'm like, well, like, I think I can make a video and like, I feel blah, blah, blah. To her credit, like she questioned it, but she always trusted me enough to never let it cause friction in our relationship, which I can only, I can't speak to anybody else's relationship because it's going to be different for everyone. But I give her a huge amount of credit for that, because it probably wasn't easy to be like, and how do you explain to your friend, like, well, like, what's your husband do? Why is he working less at the restaurant? It's like, oh, he makes videos on YouTube. And it's like, older people my age, 30s, 40s, like, they don't
Definitely
get that.
not,
A lot
right.
of them still. So it was an amazing feeling when I eventually in 2018, I had that video that went viral, and then the other one that went viral around those Australian brothers. That was kind of like my first really blow up on YouTube, where I could fucking pull up my analytics and be like, this is why I've been up till 3 a.m. for the last fucking 4 years, studying, making
chills,
videos,
man.
doing all this shit. And she was like, okay, I get it. Quit your job. And I was like, all right, good. Thanks. So it was like, that was it. And I will, to your point, I know you mentioned, like, I didn't fully quit my job at the restaurant until I had a blow up month where I was like, all right, I made, enough money in this month to where it would sustain me more than like several
Right.
months in the restaurant. Like, clearly there's something going on here
Right,
that's
right.
worthy of my time.
Was it December?
It was
in summer.
It was not. It was before that. It was like September, October area. I think.
Decent CPM.
Those are still nice months though.
Yeah,
They're
still
still
good
nice
months.